What should you never do in the United States? Don't ever get a payday loan. Are these still legal in the States? I got stuck in the loop for nearly 2 years in my early 20s, and the only thing that saved my ass was that the laws on payday loans changed in Canada. Get out of the vehicle during a traffic stop. I did not know this. Here in Australia, we are perfectly okay to get out of the vehicle unless the cop says otherwise. Once I rolled through a stop sign in front of my college dorm and had parked and was out of my car before the cop pulled up behind me and screamed for me to get back in the car. I hadn't seen him at all, and the lights weren't on until I was already out of my car. He was so angry and was asking why I got out of my car. Would an Australian cop be more suspicious if the driver did not get out? Genuine question from an American. Man, I could never imagine getting out for any reason if I got stopped. Wow, this blew up. I took a nap and came back to see a lot of people feel the same, and it's terrifying. Don't get out of the car after police asks you to stop. My old chemistry professor made that mistake on holiday. They pulled a gun on him. Then his dear brother-in-law had to talk to the cops to let him out. I remember that too. Walk onto someone's property without permission or knowing the owner. It's cool in many places around the world to be able to go wandering through the countryside. It is not cool in the US. You might end up getting arrested, held at gunpoint, or shot at if you're really unlucky. Call a mixed person colored. It doesn't mean the same thing as it does in Southeast Africa. Call any POC, especially black people, colored. Don't take pictures or record videos of strangers' children. I've had to warn many people coming over from Asia about this. Some have ignored me, and it has led to screaming and threats. Genuinely curious. In other cultures, when might someone do this? My friend's 3-year-old daughter ended up on the Humans of Nye Instagram page and got hundreds of thousands of likes. She was pissed. If a cop pulls you over, don't get out of the car. Place your hands on the wheel and wait, they will come to you. Also, turn the vehicle's ignition off. Remove your sunglasses. Turn off the radio. Roll down your windows, particularly if they are tinted. Turn on the interior lights at night. And don't reach for anything in the vehicle without being asked to do so, and even then announcing your intention. My rental paperwork. Yes, it's in the center console. Edit. By the way, all this and more I learned very early in my driving career from a great book called A Speeder's Guide to Avoiding Tickets by James Egan, a retired New York State Trooper. It also has other safety applications as well. All these things are designed to calm down Officer Neckvein, as he's referred to in the book. The book seems to be out of print, but it's well worth the read if you can find it. I never seen anyone going out of their car after a police stop in Europe too. Can't speak for whole Europe or the world, obviously, but I think it's pretty much the norm everywhere, but for probably a variety of reasons. Think that you can pee in an empty alley on your way home from the bars. A surprisingly large percentage of my European acquaintances have had great experience of spending a few hours, early morning hours, in the drunk tank in various American cities, because it's really not that big of a deal in most of Europe. I'd add that it's illegal to consume alcohol in most public spaces, sidewalks, parks, in much of the US. Exceptions: New Orleans, beer wine in Denver Park. Try and bribe a police officer. Not just bribery. Apparently in some countries, if you get a ticket for something, you can actually pay the fine to the police officer on the spot. Fralkicker and Raiders legend Sebastian Janikowski was arrested and almost deported back to Poland for trying to bribe a police officer until he convinced the court that he just thought that's how it legitimately works. This is good advice. It's such a common practice in other countries that it's really good to know not to try it here. Police are increasingly monitored through audio and video recording devices in their cars, but also that they must wear on their uniforms, so they can easily get in a lot of trouble if they take a bribe. You can get into even more trouble if you attempt to bribe them. Do not run or move fast and unpredictably when stopped by cops. Sorry, reading this as a non-American is so weird. It's like you're talking about what to do if you come across a bear. They are apex predators and will attack. Move slowly, maintain eye contact, keep hands visible, and say what your intentions are calmly and aloud. Edit. Yo, gotta stop everything so serious. They are very obviously dangerous idiots. As my dad has always told me, they don't pay geniuses minimum wage to carry a gun, GEs. Don't underestimate the size of the U's. Apparently some people think it can take only a couple hours to go to location states away. Don't try to cheat the ears. They will fuck your life into oblivion. There are 3 things all wise men fear: the sea in a storm, a night with no moon, and a jilted ears. The old Batman cartoon even made a joke about this through the Joker. Taps, YouTube, come watch. Voftic 50, 6 of Cry 4. Even the Joker is smart enough to not fuck around with the... Engage with someone acting like a crazy person on the road. They might shoot you. This is not exaggerated. I live in a really safe area, and we have had a few horrible road rage shooting cases over the past few years. At least in Tennessee, you should never say anything unkind about Dolly Parton. Thanks for the awards. I mean, you shouldn't in general. She's a lovely woman. Dolly Parton hooks my daughter up with Bombas books every month. Damn straight. No Dolly Parton, hate whatsoever, will be tolerated in Tennessee. Why would you say anything bad about Dolly Parton? Be a king and use the Tea Act of 1773 to give special consideration to the British East India Company in the colonies. Cut in line. I've been in countries, example, Spain, where line skews are more of a vague suggestion of who goes first. This is not true if you cut in line in the US. Cutting in line in the US can literally lead to violence. Hey buddy, what's your problem? Wow, you guys cut each other in lines and that doesn't cause violence. That's such a huge foxpass in the US that genuinely I thought that was a global thing. Haha. Shows little respect for the people waiting before you, immortal. Try this in Germany, and the death penalty will be reinstated just for you. Ook looks on in approval. Whoa! Hey there, Copernicus. Why don't you navigate yourself to the back of the line with your feet and stand there with your shirt? Skip a chance to have some good and tasty smoked book. Cunt is considered a very vulgar word here that would be highly inappropriate to say casually. On the other hand, fanny in American English is a rather innocent slang word for someone's posterior. It's entirely appropriate to say, get your fanny over here. To a young child, as I understand it, if you said that to a child in the UK, you might find yourself having a chat with law enforcement. Fuck me, I'd be proper fucked then. Man, through some strange coincidence, most of the people I associate or hang out with at work and outside are Australian and British. They drop the word cunt all the time in casual conversation, and even though I'm Canadian, I've become so numb to it that I do it now too. It's just another word to me that I use in conjunction with dick or asshole. But Reddit seems to be largely American, and I have gotten so many temp bans from different subs or been reported for threatening violence against others for calling someone a cunt when they are being an asshole. And every time I get a notification informing me of this, I'm stunned and think, what? And then remember, oh yeah, that's not normal here. So I'm actively trying to remove it from my vocabulary. Say the N-word. I was overseas and a guy in a bar asked if people in the US disliked black people, but he did not say black people. I suggested that he not say that word in the future. I knew this guy who had come from Poland a few months prior and kept saying it casually. I delicately brought it up. Turns out his English teacher in Poland taught him that was the regular word for black people. Ralphie. Oh, black people. Only I didn't say black people. I was hanging out with a Chinese guy my freshman year of college who had just recently arrived in the U's, and he casually dropped a hard R in conversation. I don't even remember the context, but pretty much everyone that was immediately like, ooh, heads up, don't say that word again, Don't assume because you visited nice that defines the rest of the US. Don't talk to your wife about trying New York pizza in Arabic on a plane to New York, or about buying a Porsche 911 while on a helicopter tour. Why not? I heard New York pizza is the bomb. Tell the airline agent at the counter that you are booking a one-way flight to paradise. Apparently getting out of your car during a traffic stop. Never fuck with Floridaman. He will beat you with experience every time. Experience in what? Yes. Don't get out of your car unless asked when stopped by the police. My Balkan friends all just hop out to talk to the cops when pulled over in that part of the world. If you did that in the US, you'd probably get shot. My buddy came here from Sri Lanka about 2 years ago. He was pulled over late one night and immediately got out of the car to talk to the cop. The cop freaked out and pulled his gun out.
I don't think he pointed it out.
I don't think he pointed it at him, but it sure as hell scared the shit out of him. Buy a kinder egg. It isn't the real thing. You will be disappointed. My dad went on a work trip to Europe and brought back kinder eggs for me and my siblings. When coming through customs, they were almost taken because they are banned in the use. He got to keep them because they are down in the. He got to keep them because he told the agent they were for his adult children. Wait, what's the real thing like? Don't base your entire opinion and generalization of the country just from one part or particular region. Cultures, values, and people are so different all over the use. But Yala is just a wee bit different than Alabama. The worst thing someone could do in that respect is form an opinion on Americans based on what they see on TV. Assume everyone has a gun, not assume that everyone has a gun. This varies wildly by location. Almost nobody owns a gun in Nice. Almost everyone owns a gun in Anchorage. Blackface. I know this seems obvious, but it's often much less offensive in a lot of other countries. But absolutely do not do it here. You can look up the history of slavery, minstrel shows, and the banjo if you are wondering why. Oh boy, being in Spain for Three Kings Day was quite the culture shock for my wee American brain. In a similar vein, using the N-word. I met somebody who's from Russia, and he said that they use the N-word a lot when talking to their black friends in Russia because they don't understand just how taboo of a word it is in the us. I would never expect a non-American to fully comprehend how much of a no it is in the use, but it will not be received well by anybody, even if you are completely unaware of its implication. When a policeman asks you for your documents, flirt with him and tell him, try to take it away. I tried it, then I lay in handcuffs and without document. Reminds me of the video of a young lady saying, I thought you didn't give tickets to pretty girls. To which the officer replied, we don't, and proceeds to hand her the ticket.
Edit to drop a link.
Edit to drop a link. Edit to brass you. There's a well-known prohibition against terrible flirting. Try to take it away. Public spitting isn't usually well received. The average American does not usually enjoy talking politics in their frequented public spaces. Assume public transport is timely. Light up a cigarette without knowing local laws to the space. There are places you can't smoke a cigarette other than like the obvious places, like a town or something. Assume public transport exists. Grab your license a bit too quickly when pulled over. Burn down the White House. Yeah, that only worked for the British in 1812. We've rescinded that tourist activity since then. Try get some Chick-fil-A on a Sunday when you're hungover. Gotta get to the Waffle House instead.